Holy Story 15 Job and the Test that Strikes the Righteous. Copie traduit en anglais de histoire saint 15 Job et l'éprouvé qui frappe les justes. 5 mn. https://youtube.b/16tenwagjake. The Book of Job and the Test that Strikes the Righteous. This book, it is written after the exile in Babylon, and it is the mark of this change of mentality. It tells the story of a man who behaves with incredible justice and therefore, he is filled with goods. It is as the Jews thought. He had children, 3 sons, 3 daughters, he is the richest in the region. And now, one day, at the counsel of God, Satan introduces himself and says to God, "He blesses you, it is true. He praises you, it is true. No wonder, you have filled it with all kinds of goods. Only touch his property and he will curse you in the face." God allows Satan to do it. The next day Job wakes up. No sooner had he awakened than a servant came out in blood, saying, "We were reunited with the eldest son. A desert storm arrives and the house collapses on us. I am the only survivor." He had barely finished talking about another servant saying, "There was an Arab network, they stole all your flocks, you have nothing, I am the only survivor." Then Job tore his clothes and put ashes on his head, and he said, "God had given me wealth and God gave me poverty. Blessed be his name. He knows what he's doing." Job behaved exactly. So Satan did not stop there. At the counsel of God the next day God said to Satan, "Have you seen how my servant Job serves me?" Satan replied, "Touch his skin, skin for skin, he will curse you in the face." Satan is right, that's what we would do, most of us. The next day, Job woke up. He had a kind of leprosy that forced him to live apart from his wife. So he went on a pile of manure and took a shard to scratch. His wife came to him and said to him, "But cursed God and dies with dignity." He replied, "Woman, you are mad. God has given me health, and he has now given me misfortune. Blessed be his name." We see that he kept his humility. But he still had a hard time to live. The test of hypocrisy, of the stupidity of his friends, because a little later, 3 friends learned what was happening to him. They came to see him, with all the words of consolation and truth coming from the Old Testament. The one before the exile, the one where it was believed that every man struck had sinned. So they said to him, "What did you sin, Job, to be smitten like that?" Job answered, "But I have not sinned. I know it. I behaved precisely, I never even wanted to look a little too closely at a girl, for fear of having impure thoughts." His friends answered him, "Liar! So you would make God a liar? You have necessarily sinned. God is right, you are not beaten." Then Job cursed the day of his birth, saying, "Why am I born? Why did not my mother let me die?" That means he's deep in despair. He does not understand, but he is telling the truth. I did not sin except for venial sins. I did not sin. His friends did not give up. The book of Job ends with an answer that is only a semblance of answer. God appeared in thunder, the earth trembled. Job's friends were terrified and Job too. He prostrated himself on the ground, before such glory, saying, "Lord, I called you to the tribunal to explain to you. Sorry, I did not know you." God said to him, Yes, you do not know what I'm doing. Do you know how a child is conceived, how it develops in the belly of the mother, how the animals of the seas are created? Do you know anything? Job answered, No. I know nothing. And he prostrated himself on the ground. Job is considered a Muslim by the Muslims because he humbly agrees not to understand. He is a servant of God and God explains nothing to him. Only the book of Job ends as follows. He regained his health, he found his children, he lived perfectly happy with more wealth than before. This tele-chapter seems to indicate that in fact, the answer he would have it, not in this earth, but in the other world, in eternal life. So already at that time, we suspect that all this must have a reason that is related to the real life that happens after death. The Hebrew people have thus refined themselves and begin to believe that there is a life after death. Where did he find that? No doubt in Babylon, because Moses never spoke about it. He has therefore profoundly evolved and refined. He knows that God can strike the righteous and that there is a reward after death.